Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for attending. I think there are going to be some people kind of coming in as they can. It's very interesting to think that 3 years ago when we started fighting the Common Core, we had 2,200 people that looked at our Facebook page, and today when we left to come here, we were up over 15,000. So we are blessed that people are finally getting to understand and beginning to understand what Common Core means, not only to Oklahoma, but to the rest of the nation, where, although 45 states actually accepted the Common Core state standards, we now have almost 19 states who are trying to get out of the Common Core standards because they're finding out just the things that we've been finding out. So why are we here today? Well, we're here today because a section of law affecting every Oklahoma student was passed in 2010 as one paragraph, tiny paragraph, in a 35-page bill that was basically titled under teacher incentive pay. What legislator is not going to vote for teacher incentive pay? So this was really a very non-transparent issue for Oklahoma voters from the very beginning. Common Core standards were promulgated by two private non-governmental organizations who were not subject to open records. Oklahoma passed Common Core into law sight unseen. No one could have even read the standards because they hadn't even been written yet or fully implemented or fully finished before we put that into law. There was absolutely no consent of the governed then. There is no possible way that you can pass something into law in one paragraph with hardly anybody recognizing exactly what that meant. Few representatives even today have heard of the standards or actually understand what they are or what's in them. Rope has been studying Common Core for 3 years now. The manner in which they were passed into law in order to allow Oklahoma to compete for a Race to the Top grant were not subject to any scrutiny at all on any level from the legislature, from efficacy to cost. Today, few parents we talk to know how the Common Core will affect their students. Teachers are concerned what the standards will do to those students in special ed, for example. What the testing, which has been estimated to take 9 to 10 hours per student per semester just for English and math. Now, while I could go on and on and on about how these were non-transparent, how people didn't understand what they were getting into, but others are with us in understanding this. Representative Gus Blackwell authored HB 1907 to simply institute a task force to study the cost of the Common Core as it was being implemented in Oklahoma. It passed the Rules Committee unanimously in the House. But then once it got out of the Rules Committee and was ready to go to the floor, it was blocked from a hearing by our governor. Our governor is the vice chairman of the National Governors Association. The National Governors Association and the Council of Chief State School Officers are the two non-governmental organizations that are behind the push for these standards. How transparent, how constitutional can that be? Please welcome Gus Blackwell.
Well, thank you. It's great to follow a normal-sized person for once. I'm not sure what we're going to do in a moment, though, when Reverend Paul Blair gets to the stage, but that's great. Every time I come to my office and I see Jenny White and some of the other people there, I know they have one thing on their mind: Common Core. And they've been talking about this ever since we passed it. And you've got to understand how it was passed. First of all, it did fail the first time it went around. It did fail because people did not know what Common Core was, and we said, we're not going to sign on to this. We had a caucus with the Republicans. The Speaker of the House at that time, Chris Benn, said, we've got to pass this to be eligible for more money. This will give Oklahoma more money. That's all we're doing. We're just going to say yes to more money. So it came back the next day. We passed it to get more money for Oklahoma. But guess what? As was predicted in that meeting, we didn't get the grant. And now that I want to know how much money is this going to cost us, we can't even find out. I received an email yesterday from an economist who said it will cost probably about $200 to $250 million in Oklahoma to put this into action. Now, to get that amount in perspective, understand that the governor only had about, I think, $15 million in her budget extra for education this year. We're probably going to boost that up to somewhere close to $100 million. But if we did that for 2 years in a row, we still would not cover the cost of Common Core. This money will be, make no doubt about it, this money is going to out-of-state testing companies. Every teacher you talk to says one thing only. Well, they say two things. First of all, it's not very good, but second of all, they say someone is going to make a boatload of money off of this. And guess what? That boatload of money is not going to go to Oklahoma teachers. It's not going to go to Oklahoma schools. It's not going to educate Oklahoma kids. It's going to go to testing companies in other states. That's where our boatload of money is going. Now, real quick, I just want to say, this past summer, as I still had an open mind, was looking at this, I went to a conference on Common Core hosted by the proponents of Common Core. They made some amazing statements. One thing they said was this: 90% of students will fail in the first year any test given on Common Core. 90% will fail. Now, are our students that stupid, or have they just not been indoctrinated yet into the Common Core curriculum? I think it's the latter. But two other axioms with that is, if our students are failing, remember we just passed an evaluation on teachers. See Senator Sharp here, been in the classroom, knows what I'm talking about. They're going to be evaluated on how well the students do on the test. So if 90% are failing, guess what's going to happen to about 90% of our teachers? They're also going to be out the door and replaced. Not only that, but they likened it to this. I don't know if you've ever bought a car sight unseen over the internet, or just called up someone and said, send me a car. And they said, what kind of car? It doesn't matter. What's the cost? It doesn't matter. Just send me, give me a car. That's what Common Core is. They likened it to a ship, the hull having been finished, launched out into the ocean while the builders are still on board furiously trying to finish it. They said that's what Common Core is. No one knows what the finished product looks like. I don't know about you, but I don't want to buy something sight unseen. I'll conclude with this. All I really want to know is I'm looking at a House resolution I have, House Resolution 1011, to get the cost of Common Core is this. If I can't know the educational factual outcomes of Common Core, if I can't know the physical outlay required to implement Common Core, the only practical use for Common Core is in a functional outhouse laying by the hole next to where you sit.